Shalom. I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of great millstone that taught us this truth. Peace, love, and salutations to the hopeful elect Akim, teaching and preaching this truth with all righteousness and sincerity. Just like Yahweh Shai, today's lesson is entitled Cities Troubled, Sweeping Cyber Attack on Water Systems in Multiple States. And Lord willing, you be edified through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, which are the true names of the Heavenly Father and His beloved Son in the Paleo Hebrew. And as always, the sit downs, the lessons, the street speaking is for the remnant, the elect, the Israel, the Most High, to use the gospel preached. And part of the gospel, all right, the prophecies, it speaks about cities being troubled. It speaks about sedition. It speaks about home invasions. It speaks about rioting. All right. It speaks about all these perilous times that will be happening here in these last days. All right. And as we seen on this so-called world stage, not only do you have a lot of confusion going on, especially this week with Fauci coming out, pleading the fifth, and people are waking up to the fact that, they took something that they didn't even need to take, So ain't no telling what's in these people walking around and what's finna set off in these people. All right, you got that on one side. You got, the rising costs of living, groceries, gas, fuel, diesel fuel, regular gas. All right, utility bills, all going up. All right, then you got this energy crisis, which, as this thing continue to intensify in the Middle East with the U.S., Israel, and Iran, it's going to further drive up the prices, which Esau, what he wants to do is he wants to destroy the global markets to bring about his NWO, which is the subcutaneous device that go under the skin, and with it you will be able to buy and sell. Scriptures call it the mark of the beast. We've done several lessons on it. All right, well, all these things happening and taking place, all right, is going to be things that happen that's going to try to shake the believer's faith. All right, but we got the prophecies and we put our stock in it. So I got this article from CNN. Sweeping cyber attack on water systems in multiple states have U.S. officials on edge, which Trump has already came out and said that he rejects blame, as you see on the screen from Fox News, which a lot of this CNN, Fox News, the New York Times, they all push agendas because, another thing that Esau wants is people to react. He wants the people to be in the streets seditioning and rioting and having militia groups trying to come up against the government so that he can be justified with coming down with great wrath. So a lot of these things that take place on these articles is rage, as they call rage bait. Esau wants to get people in that mode. All right. But as it says here, Trump rejects Iran blame for Minnesota cyber attacks, point finger at corrupt political foe. And behind the scenes, we don't know if Iran really doing this or it's the American government doing this. All right. So people can speculate it's Iran. So the American citizen will be on board with the ongoing war in the Middle East. So we got to see. But we're going to go ahead and read into this. It says hackers have targeted water systems in several U.S. states in a coordinated cyber attack that has caused some utilities to issue boil water notice and switch to manual mode, taking their systems offline, according to U.S. officials. All right, so, if you in one of these states, Minnesota or whichever other state that they're going to say in this article, hey, man, just send your prayers up, man. Hey, you know what you signed up for. Scripture speak about how these devils are set up to take peace from the earth. And as we get closer and closer into the end, a lot of comforts, a lot of so-called peace that we under the illusion of having here is going to be taken away. All right. Let me get this real quick. We won't get back to the article. Revelation 6, start at 3 pointers and 4. It says, and when he had opened up a second seal, I heard the second beast say, come and see. And there went out another horse that was red, and power was given to him that sat thereon to take peace from the earth. And this is Esau in a position of power. The red horse. All right, this infrastructure ruled by the Edomites is also likened into a scarlet colored beast. All right, which is a conglomeration of nations together with one purpose. All right, you got NATO, you got EU, and you got America, and collectively it make up this beast system, this empire ruled by the Edomites, or as the scriptures call it, a horse that was red. And it tells us what purpose that this beast serves. It serves to take peace from the earth, to cause trouble in times. The Lord is going to use Esau to bring about a lot of these end time prophecies that we read about in 2 Esdras 15, 2 Esdras 16, all right, and various other chapters that we constantly sound the alarm on. But let's continue reading. It says, and that they should kill one another, all right. Situation with the Russians against the Ukrainians, those are all Edomites. They just from different tribes. All right, so murder and kill is all in these devils' heart. To take peace from the earth is all a part of their agenda. And there was given unto him a great sword, going back to Genesis 27 in regards to Esau's blessing that he received from Isaac. So with this sword, all right, which the ultimate sword is the ICBM missile, the intercontinental ballistic missile, which will be shot during World War III, or as the scriptures call it, the third woe is going to turn America, which is Babylon the Great, into a lake of fire, as well as the laser beams out of the chariots. All right. But that great sword, Esau uses it to take peace from the earth and kill one another. All right. So when we look at things like cyber attacks, yeah, it could be enemy nations that are, targeting the infrastructure of Babylon the Great, but it could also be Esau doing it. All right. So let's tune in. Nevertheless, at the end of the day, it's the counsel of Yahweh Bashim Al-Shai that's going to stand, whether it's a foreign entity doing these things or Esau's doing these things. All right. At the end of the day, this backs up prophecy. It says it's one of the most serious cyber attacks on water systems in the U.S. in years. According to some analysts, the U.S. Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the FBI, and the Environmental Protection Agency have for the last week been scrambling to try to help secure the water facilities to ensure that safety of drinking water isn't affected. No incidents of contamination have been reported. Now, if you remember a couple of weeks ago, they had came out talking about this explosive diarrhea, and it was due to water contamination. All right. And it was speculation that it was due to, data centers and how they filter, water to go through their systems to cool them off, and it gets back into the environment and it's destroying the local ecosystem. So, ain't no telling what's going on, but what is going on is that trouble is happening in these major cities. Let's read a little more. It says the hackers are targeting water entities of all sizes. CISA said in a warning Thursday that urged water facilities to get vulnerable industrial equipment offline. So, right now they're affecting water, and this is a war. This is the art of war. Cutting off water supply, all right, cutting off food, all right, cutting off these resources to weaken the inhabitants. And, these scenarios is going to ramp up. It's going to get worse than cyber attacks. Because as we seen, especially with the American citizen, they really don't give a damn about what's going on as long as their program isn't directly affected. All right. That's why when the Lord comes down, with this judgment, right? The Lord is finna be taking away your finances and your food. That's what's gonna get these people attention, and that's what's gonna get these people out their houses and in the streets raising hell. And Esau knows that too, you know. That's why this collapse is gonna immediately affect your buying and your selling. Like it's in Revelation 13 that no man might buy or sell save he that had the chip or the mark, you know. So let's continue on. Let's read a little more. It says US and state officials are treating Iran as one of the suspects behind the hack, but have not made a formal determination of who's responsible and are wary of false flags. All right, so here they're not ruling out Iran, which I just showed you that Trump said that he rejects Iran being to blame. Whatever it is, all right, this shit is affecting people. Let's look at this NBC News. It says hackers targeted municipal water systems in 7 states this week, the FBI said. I want to see what states were affected. Let's see if we can scroll down. They pretty much say the same thing on these articles. It's pretty much copy and paste. Let's see what Trump said. President Donald Trump, speaking to reporters Friday at Camp David, blamed Minnesota's leaders in government, Tim Walz, who was the Democratic vice president nominee in the 2024 elections. I think I blame it on Minnesota because they're grossly incompetent, Trump said. I will blame it on Minnesota and the governor, the corrupt governor of Minnesota. They like to say, oh, it's Iran. Iran should be so lucky. Iran's got bigger problems than worrying about Minnesota. All right, so Trump talking this shit. So Trump, he don't know. All right, I want to see what states though. I may have to do it this way. Let's go over here and pull up Google. What states were affected by the water cyber attacks? Let's see. It says the FBI EPA confirmed that municipal water systems in at least 7 states were targeted in a wave of cyber attacks, while federal agencies have not publicly named all of them. Minnesota and Wisconsin are among the states affected. Let me see something. I think these the same states that had this explosive diarrhea. See? Look at this. Minnesota and Wisconsin are tracking seasonal cases of cyclosporiasis, a parasitic intestinal infection heavily featured in the recent headlines of causing frequent watery and explosive diarrhea. So now we running parallels, man. That was July 10th. This came out. So a couple of weeks ago, you had Minnesota dealing with explosive diarrhea. Now hackers been hacking the water systems, and Minnesota is one of them. So it's most definitely some tricky stuff going on. And remember, Esau, like we read in Revelation 6 and 4, is set up to take peace from the earth. So this got Esau name on it. So let's get over here in 2 Esdras 15. We're going to bounce around. We'll start at the top. 2 Esdras 15 and 1. Behold, speak thou in the ears of my people the words of prophecy, which I will put in thy mouth, saith Yahweh, and cause them to be written in paper, for they are faithful and true. Fear not the imaginations against thee. Let not the incredulity of them trouble thee that speak against thee. So what are we reading? We're reading that the prophets will be talking to the Israelites, the believers, about prophecies. And we're telling them that all this information that we bring up bring out and link up with the Bible verses and end time prophecy is faithful and true, meaning it's going to come to pass. It's going to happen. And though it tarry, wait for it. It will surely come. It will not tarry. It may seem like it's prolonging, but it's right on time with Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. All right, it says in the third verse, we're going to have imaginations against the message. We're going to have discrediting towards the message, but we're warned to not let these things trouble us. You're going to have a lot of people not believing the things that we bring out here in these lessons. But that's exactly how Yahweh Bashim Yahushai wanted, because the Holy Spirit, which is the comforter, which is the spirit of truth, the world can't receive this information. All right, it's far above what they think that the will of the Lord is. All right. The scriptures speak about understanding what the will of the Lord is. Let's go over there, man. See, having an understanding of what the Lord wants done here in America, it should bring comfort to you. Let me see. Is it Romans 9 or 12? Maybe 12. Yeah, Romans 12. Yep. Romans 12:1, I beseech or desire you, therefore, brethren, and other members of the hopeful elect, Apostle Paul is addressing in these epistles. It was all Israelites these epistles was written to, whether they was in Rome, Corinth, Galatia, or Thessalonica. They were all Israelites. By the mercies of Yahweh, that ye present your bodies a living sacrifice, wholly acceptable unto the power, which is your reasonable service. Us doing these lessons, us out there on the highways and the byways and being charitable, this is our reasonable service. This is our sacrifice. Be not conformed to this world. Don't get entangled, don't get wrapped up, and don't form to the image of this place. Because as we're seeing, all right, things is going to get drastically worse. And if you're trying to keep your stake here in this society Esau built up, you're going to have to continue to lower your vibration and seek love. You're going to have to do away with your integrity. All right. And all these other things that are frowned upon in this truth. So do not conform to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. It starts in the mind, because that's where Esau is going to be attacking people mentally. All right, with all this information coming out, people are confused. They looking over here, they looking over there. They just being bombarded with a whole bunch of information to where they just don't even want to watch the news. They just rather be ignorant and not know. Long as they got their food and they job and they little transportation, they vices, they cool with oppression. But remember, the Lord is finna shake all this shit up. But as it says here, be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Or this information that we bring out, the prophecies, how to conduct yourself here on behind enemies' lines. All right, how to rule your spirit. All these different things that come with this truth. It enables us to transform ourselves by the renewing of our mind. The Lord is getting our mind together. It says that here's the point, that ye may test what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of the Most High. And we're reading in the second address. The will of the Lord is to have the prophets out speaking unto the hopeful members of the elect about these prophecies and giving them warning of the judgment that's to come. So let's continue reading in 2 Esdras 15. But all the unfaithful shall die in their unfaithfulness. So the message that we bring out in the ears of the Lord's people is hard. We starting off with death. It's finna be a lot of death out here, man. And things like this, your water systems being infiltrated by entities. It's water now. It could be electrical next. So imagine a cyber attack, a false flag, T attack, on the water systems, right? And, the very populous cities throughout America. Throw the water attack on there. Throwing the electrical grid attack. Ain't no working, man. See, right now, people can, just say, all right, look, I'm going to just go ahead and go to work. You know what I'm saying? I'm going to just go out here, go do this and go do that. I can go to the beach. I can just go get my mind off this shit. You can't get your mind off of what's going on in the world if you can't turn them light switches on in your house. You ain't taking no bath. It's all panic and chaos at your local convenience stores and grocery stores. You can't ignore what the Lord is doing, and that's what the Lord is finna do. The Lord is finna get everybody's attention, man. All this social media, all this entertainment and bread and circus can have you looking all over here and shit, completely ignoring what's really going on out here in this world. But see, the Lord is finna, like I said, through the Spirit, the Lord finna get everybody's attention, man. All right? Niggas ain't finna be walking around like they ain't got a care in the world once the water systems is corrupted. All right? Once the electrical systems is down. Like I said, you ain't going no work. I'm just get my mind off of stuff, man. I just got so many problems. I'm just go ahead and go to work and get my mind off that. Ain't gonna be none of that, man. And guess what? Once all this stuff happens, a lot of death, a lot of lawlessness. The criminals gonna say, you know what? Shit, this is the time for us to go get it. Ain't no water, no lights. It's nighttime. Because that's what's happening in Cuba. Cuba is experiencing a major energy crisis. And America is doing it. Cuba's energy crisis, right? Look, 6 days ago, we count every liter. They eating their food by measure over there. They don't got the free will just to pull up and drink up and eat up over there in Cuba. 2 days ago, U.S. imposed fuel crisis in Cuba is inhumane and immoral. Cuba crisis hit. Cuba opens pharmacies, gas stations to private firms. All right. And you in America, look, Cuba blackout crisis. People think that this energy isn't coming here to America, man. Which America is the Lord's focal point. Babylon the Great is finna receive a terrible judgment. And the nations around the world ain't finna run over here and come help out. Revelation 18 speaks on it. Nations standing afar off, beholding the judgment of this place. So that's why we push the vibration of getting right with Yahweh Shemel Shai, so you can have protection in these times. Because these times is coming, man. These things, look, just like Noah, when he was prophesying those over 100 years, while him and his sons building that ark, everybody thought he was bugged out. Everybody thought that he was speaking about something that could never happen. And what happened? The unthinkable happened. All right. That rain came down. Knowing his house is in that boat, they was safe. But everybody outside was assed out, dying and getting judged. Nothing but screams and cries. But continuing on in 2 Esdras 15 and 5, behold, saith the Lord, I will bring plagues upon the world, the sword, famine, death, and destruction. The destruction. All right. Water systems getting destructured. Next is the electrical systems. Then it's the fuel. You already know the fuel ration is right around the corner. All right. And it's going to be complete lawlessness and chaos. So let's continue. For wickedness have exceedingly polluted the whole world, earth, and their hurtful works are fulfilled. And that's the reason why the Lord bringing the judgment. Let's go down. 14. Woe to the world and them that dwell therein. For the sword and their destruction draweth nigh. Remember, these are plagues. We read it in the above verse. And one people shall stand up to fight against another with swords in their hands. And what's going to cause this is that people is going to feel betrayed by their government. And we've been telling you, starting off with our elders and apostles of Great Millstone, that All this shit is systematically controlled. All right. All these people that you see all on the screen, Fauci, Trump, all these people are characters because there's the elites behind them, the bankers, which their biblical nationality is Esau, Edom. They're controlling this, man. Remember, when you read in Revelation 12, it speaks about another one of Esau's lots, which is to deceive the whole world. The whole world is under a goddamn lie. But we here, we got the truth, man. It says, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up to fight against another, and swords in their hands. They're going to have weapons in their hands because people is going to get fed up, which people are seeing the lies now. You know, it's a lot of alternative news, channels on YouTube. I'm thinking about the Young Turks. I'm thinking about, these little preppers. It's another one, another bitch I be listening to, Edomite. What's her name? She be coming up a lot. Man. Kim Iverson, that's one. Check her out. Which a lot of these is control opposition. You also got Alex Jones. A lot of this stuff is control opposition. But it is getting the attention of other Edomites to want to get in that spirit of coming up against the government. And that's going to happen. All right. It says, for there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, in the course of their actions shall stand in their power, because the people got more numbers, more weapons, more ammunition. All right. These people not going to be giving a damn about what Trump say, because Trump lying. They're not going to be giving a damn about what their government is saying, because they all fraud. Which Esau on his media is having a lot of these people look stupid. All right, just so people can say, hey, look, we need another operation that's going to justly bring out what the American citizen truly needs. They want to go to what they call a technocracy, which is them using science and technology to solve the world problems. They pretty much want to use the internet to fix things, and not using actual human beings. But all this AI and all this technology is programmed to be racially biased against Jake. And we see how Esau gets down. Shit, he kill his own people with the sword. Shit, Minnesota, Wisconsin, and shit like that. It's nothing but Edomites over there. So Esau is cruel to his own people. But verse 17, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And when it's lawlessness and anarchy, there's going to be checkpoints. It's going to be, what they call it, curfews. There's going to be these different scenarios that's going to affect your everyday lives. For because of their pride, and that's what you see. A lot of people out here, they at the jazz fest, they at the concerts. Like I said, a lot of bread and circus. They think that shit, look, yeah, I know it's a lot of stuff going on, but shit, as long as we got some entertainment, we cool. That stuff breeds pride. And pride is when one depart from his maker. Pride is when, it's a definition of pride in Ecclesiasticus. I'll get that real quick. It's been a minute. Ecclesiasticus 11 and 9, something like that. Or maybe 10. Yeah, let's go back one chapter. It could be 10. Yeah, Ecclesiastes 10 and 12. The beginning of pride is when one departed from the Most High and his heart is turned away from his maker. It makes you come in that anti-Messiah spirit, For pride is the beginning of sin, and he that have it shall pour out abomination. Therefore the Lord brought upon them strange calamities and overthrew them utterly. Strange calamities is going to be happening. Having the water systems being targeted in cyber attacks, that's a strange calamity because it's like, what the hell? How did this happen? I thought we had sophisticated security networks that can prevent these scenarios from happening. How is it happening here to Babylon? Or, they will say, how is this happening here in America? We hear about stuff like this happening in other countries, in Cuba. How is this happening here? So the Lord is going to bring strange things that people would never have thought to happen here on American soil. Soil is going to be happening here. And why is it going to happen? Because of their pride. Back in 2nd Esdras 15 and 18, because of their pride, their rebellion against the Most High, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Yeah, if you ain't got this covering, if you ain't got Yahweh Shema Shai eyes to protect you in these times, you're gonna be afraid, man. You can be seeing your children, your family pining away, losing weight, not eating, no water because you done ran out of your food prepping kit. Which it would be wise. Elder Barak Allah from out here, GMSLA, he has said that get you a little kit, man. You ain't wicked for having a little kit, a little extra. Having you a bag with supplies in it. And you got to figure out what you need for you and your program. You know what I'm saying? You need to figure out, let the Spirit lead you, and you start gathering a little supplies, a little here and there. You know what I'm saying? You want to be very start watching videos. They got a lot of little survival videos, which ultimately the Spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai is going to lead us. But the Lord did say that he loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom. Scriptures also speak about not being ignorant in the small thing or great. So, you want to know particular things, get into the herbs, holistic healing. You know what I'm saying? Have you a little health kit, band-aids, little alcohol, shit like that. Because hey, at any moment you can look at your phone and see a breaking news alert and your city is affected by a power outage. You know what I'm saying? But let me provide some balance real quick and we're gonna close out. Because I love seeing this type of stuff happening in Babylon the Great. We pray every day that the Lord bring judgment. Let's see. Psalm 34 and 17, the righteous cry, the members of the hopeful elect. And Yahweh heareth, and delivereth them out of all their troubles. Okay, so during these times of uncertainty, your prayers should be ramping up. Which our prayers is our connection with Yahweh Bashem Yahushua. Your prayer, you may, because the body is going through trouble. Different anxiety, different things is affecting different brothers. And the Lord could be bringing that because he wants you to cry out to him. Your cry ain't fervent to Yahweh Bashem Yahushua when everything is going cool, man. You feel me? The cries get heard when you're going through your troubles. All right? So don't pray that whatever you're going through is taken away. Pray that the Lord give you the spirit to endure, because things is going to get way worse than what you see. All right? Let's go over here to 2nd Esdras 7. It may be even 14, but let's start at, matter of fact, I think it is 14. 2nd Esdras 7. Let go from thee, 14 and 14. Let go from thee mortal thoughts, things that weigh on your mind. Cast away the burdens of man. Put off now the weak nature, worrying and doubt and these different fears. Hey, everybody deals with fears. Everybody deals with worries, man. Everybody. Even the rich. Let's get this over here. That fear is on everybody. Everybody got, look, Ecclesiastes 40:1. Great travail is created for every man. Everybody got great travail. Okay? Even us in the faith. And a heavy yoke is upon the sons of Adam. That's us. From the day that they go out of their mother's womb to the day that they return to the mother of all things, the earth, you gonna go through shit, man. They're imagining things to come. This is the mortal thoughts. You just imagining things to come. Like, oh man, and this is gonna happen and that's gonna happen. And, oh, you get bugged out. In the day of death, trouble their thoughts and cause fear of heart. So imagining the things to come. Oh well, what about this and what about that? It causes the fear of heart, man. You know. So you got to put those mortal thoughts on. Like Elder Yashawama did a lesson going into speaking good things into existence, speaking the victory into existence. It's power in the tongue, man. That what a man soweth is that what he reap. You sowing out or you sending out fear and worry and stress. That's what you gonna reap in. That's gonna be your produce. That's what's gonna come back to you. But if you start changing your mindset, and this lesson is to me first, man, you start changing your mindset, things start changing. All right, but back in 2nd Esdras 14 and 14, let go from the mortal thoughts and cast away the burdens of man, putting out off the weak nature. Why? Because these things, it causes the fear of heart. The Lord ain't dealing with the fearful and the unbelieving and the abominable. Lord ain't dealing with that. And like I said, these things are easier said on these lessons, man. But speak these things into existence and you'll be reminded to put on that strong nature. 15, set aside the thoughts that are most heavy unto thee and haste thee to flee from these times. You want to hurry up and get out of that spirit because it just continues to cause the fear of heart. And the fear of heart is shown on you. You don't even see it. You know? Being a Jake, and I'm speaking from personal experience, being a Jake that's, tall with size on you. You know what I'm saying? You made a couple of mistakes. You got tattoos and shit on your arm. When you out in public, everybody is terrified of you. Standing upright, you got posture. Your posture is on point. You're not all, your body ain't all warped out. You cast down, you look weak. You're a threat in Babylon the Great. And from personal experience, you can feel the fear on people. You stand up, you can be with your child. You at the grocery store. You standing behind somebody. You can feel the fear. You smell the fear. You can feel the fear. You can taste the fear on people. Checking their pockets, grabbing their purse, looking back. Meanwhile, you just zoning out. You got your earphones in. You listening to a video. You in the spirit. But you can feel the fear on these people. But it's because that's what they sit up and think. Something happened to me. I get robbed or get beat up or something. You can just feel it on them. So whatever you sit and meditate on and you just thinking on, it just comes out with your body language. So if you confident and you secure and you got your faith and your belief, which ultimately the Lord give us these fruits of the spirit, you start producing a confident and bold and courageous spirit, man. An untouchable spirit. Because the scriptures speak about not living with having wisdom and faith. You live without being cautious. 19. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor. Your neighbors ain't gonna give a damn. These people gonna change once they stuff gets taken away. but shall destroy their houses with the sword and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread and for great tribulation. Water systems is water systems now. It's the electrical grid next. Then it's energy crisis, and the energy crisis consists of fuel shortages and fuel rationings. Shit gonna get off the hook, and people gonna go on the streets and try to take back what's theirs. All right, but the only ones that's gonna stand tall in a day of trouble are those that seek after Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai in spirit and truth. So I'm gonna leave it at that. Stay watching Akim anytime. This shit can crack off. And shalom to the Akim on the comment board. All right, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, by Hashem Dash. Double honors to our elders and apostles of Great Millstone that taught us the truth. Shalom, Akim.